Good morning, I said as I approached the all-girls school who had just arrived for a day on the ropes course. I'm looking for who's in charge, the head teacher huffed as he pushed past me, heading up the hill toward my male colleagues. I watched as he greeted them, and they pointed back at me, looking confused. That's right, a staff full of men, and I, the lone woman, was in charge. In fact, I had hired and trained every one of those men in my charge that day and held the collective experience and years of all of them. But this teacher knew none of that. No. His instincts led him toward the group of men on the course, past the woman who had walked down to greet them. This interaction didn't seem to faze the teacher in the least. Despite the fact that all 60 of the students that he had brought with him that day were teenage girls, the notion of a woman in charge, of female leadership, seemed a little bit lost on him. At the end of the day, after I had finished leading a reflection with the girls, he came up and shook the hands of all of my male colleagues without glancing once in my direction. In my decade of experience in outdoor leadership, I have too many of these stories. Now close your eyes. Bring up an image in your mind of a strong, competent mountain guide. Are they standing on the edge of some peak somewhere? Are they carrying a heavy pack? Are they dressed in technical gear and heavy boots? Are they a woman or a man? Are they a person of color or are they white? Most of us, myself included, probably would conjure up an image of a white man as a mountain guide. Why is it that a woman in the outdoor industry as a leader, something that is so uncommon? True, the field was initially strictly masculine territory, but today there are almost as many women employed as field guides as men. In a 1990 study examining feedback from participants when men and women instructors were paired together, women received positive feedback for their teaching and their coaching skills only. However, all of the praise for technical ability in every category was given to the man. When these same women were paired with other women, their technical skills were noticed and appreciated. It wasn't that the women instructors were not technically competent. It was that when there was a man present, the traditional notion of a technically skilled outdoor leader, all of the feedback and the praise went to the man, right? To the normal, what you would expect. Now think about the messaging that we give to our children and the toys that we buy them, the sports they have available to them, the clubs that we offer them, right? Think about Boy Scouts, for example. Boy Scouts are taught knots and camping and hunting and fishing, all of these technically involved skills. Girl Scouts do go camping. Yes, that's true. But Girl Scouts are also taught things like writing and sewing and baking and things that are traditionally feminine activities, right? Our experiences in childhood often affect the career choices that we make later in life. I was lucky. Growing up, I was blessed with an inadvertent gender progressive childhood. My grandfather longed for a grandson. Yet here I am, his sole grandchild, an all-woman. Growing up, I spent a lot of my time at my grandparents' house. With my grandmother, I gained a love for baking and sewing. And with my grandfather, I spent afternoons exploring his woodshop and building. In the summers, camping, my grandfather taught me the best knots for attaching a fishing line, and I watched my grandmother magically whip up fried chicken on a rickety camping stove. I didn't directly associate gender with these skills at that time, but I entered adulthood with a pretty well-rounded experience and skill set. It wasn't until I entered a field in a career that I truly loved that I began to realize the gender gap in outdoor leadership. There were many times in guiding ropes courses and kayak trips where I was the sole woman around. I was once told by a coworker, who didn't last very long, that he really didn't believe that women were capable of being leaders, but he looked forward to seeing how I did anyway. Fair. I've dabbled in facilitator training and challenge courses across California. And if you can imagine what it's like to be a 20-something woman giving technical feedback and correcting the form of a 40-something-year-old man, it's not pretty. With stories like these, it's no wonder that imposter syndrome runs rampant in women in the outdoors. Imposter syndrome can be defined as the misconception that one is lacking the skills necessary to do their job, or that others must be wrong or mistaken if they think that we are competent and we're going to be found out at any moment. The same study that I mentioned earlier noted that 84% of women in the study identified a lack of self-confidence in their abilities as a limiting factor in their career. In fact, many of the skills and competencies that are valued in the outdoor industry are based on traditionally masculine qualities. Women face a double bind in the outdoor industry. Women are expected not to be the leaders, but to be the assistants and the participants. Outdoor leaders are valued for their assertiveness, steadfastness, and independence, qualities that are traditionally masculine. When women exhibit these qualities, they are seen as unfemale and evaluated negatively. However, when women outdoor leaders exhibit more traditionally feminine qualities, like relationships and collaborative qualities, they are not seen as good leaders. So how are we supposed to win? But where could quote-unquote feminine characteristics positively influence the field? What if we all, women and men, embraced a more authentic leadership style, encompassing the masculine and feminine qualities in us all? What if we placed value on softer skills such as facilitation and compassion on the same level as harder technical skills? The type of participants we have on our trips is evolving. Women and girls are reaping the benefits of an outdoor adventure experience more and more. It's time for leadership to catch up. If we learn to value more traditionally feminine characteristics, we may also value more women as well. To move forward, we need men and women and gender non-binary and non-white leaders in the outdoors, leading from places of authenticity. We need leaders to lead from their heart, from their places of intersectionality, and we need leaders to exemplify and value all qualities of authentic leadership. Thank you.